Hello everyone and welcome back to another Forza Horizon 4 tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to drift very easily in Forza. So this isn't going to be the best drift or the most controlled drifting possible in this game, but it's just going to be the easiest way to kind of learn how to start drifting. So this isn't going to be a very advanced drifting tutorial. It's just going to be basically how to drift the easiest way if you want to pull off some drifts just to kind of start with. Now, I am not the best drifter by any means in Forza Horizon 4. In fact, I have only very recently kind of learned how to actually drift cars. And it really is harder than it looks, to be honest. A lot of people online will make it look very easily, but controlling the car and controlling the throttle is very difficult to do, but I'm going to show you guys today how to make it a little bit easier and how to do it pretty easily. Now, there actually is a lot of controversy as to what actually counts as a drift. A lot of people say that all-wheel drive drifting isn't real drifting, so I'm using rear-wheel drive cars for this tutorial. But classically, you know, drifting has always been done with these rear-wheel drive cars. But I recommend using manual with clutch. You can kind of drift around without manual with clutch by just using the manual mode or even the automatic mode of transmission style, if you will. But it is definitely a lot easier, and it's better if you learn how to do this in manual mode. The big thing is just so you can hold in the clutch, rev up your car, and then drop it. But yeah, you can definitely pull it off with automatic cars or just the automatic and manual transmission style. But again, manual with clutch is definitely the best. It is a little bit hard to focus on talking and drifting at the same time, so I'll do my best in this tutorial to keep the drifts good and the talking good as well, or the commentating rather, but we'll do our best today. But let's head back over to the festival and we'll talk about what cars to use for drifting. Definitely getting some drifting in over here on the way to the festival. Alrighty. Alright, so cars to use for drifting. So, obviously rear-wheel drive cars, most of those can drift, right? Or at least most of the ones in this game. But there are definitely some cars over other ones that make it a lot easier. Pretty much any of the Hoonigan cars are perfect for drifting. These ones are all-wheel drive, but you can drift with these all-wheel drive cars. What we're using to count as a drift today is a Forza drift. So anything that gives you the little drift skill score up at the top of the screen. And you can certainly do that with these cars. Very easy to get these two ones sideways, but any Hoonigan car usually is pretty good. I don't know about this one. I've never driven it, but presumably it can do drifting because I know Hoonigan usually does a lot of drifts. Now, other cars that are perfect for drifting are these cars. These are the Formula Drift cars. Obviously, these are absolutely fantastic for drifting and are pretty much the best drift cars in the game. My favorite one is the Nissan 240SX. I like the BMW, but yeah, both Nissans are good, or all three of them. The Mustang's alright, the Viper's alright, but yeah, the three Nissans are definitely the best, and I like the 1997 the best. Car I'm driving right now is the RX-7 Twerk Stallion, which is a Hoonigan car, of course, and it's made for drifting. As you can see, you know, it's the rear-wheel drive one. It's got the whole drift set up. But I do believe I have another one of those Formula Drift cars laying around to try and drift. So we'll go through the little tutorial with that car wherever it might be. Alright, well, it looks like I got rid of them all, so we're just going to stick with the RX-7 Twerk Stallion, which, if you have it, is a, controller disconnected. Pretty dang good drift car right here. So yeah, we'll stick with this one. Just to be different, I'm going to go ahead and paint this thing real quick. Anyways, let's actually get into the simple drifting tutorial. Now, if you're using the manual with clutch, obviously you're going to want to clutch in first gear and sort of set off here. You'll already see that if you give it enough gas and turn the wheel enough, the thing's going to go sideways, and you'll basically do what counts as a little drift. You'll get the car sideways. But if we want to do a better drift, we want to get into second gear. So now we're in second gear. We'll go a little bit faster. And again, you can do the same thing as just gas it and turn the wheel, and you'll be able to get the thing sideways pretty easily, especially if it's one of the dedicated drift cars. So I pretty much don't even need to clutch in here. Clutch in and drop it at least. I can pretty much just get it sideways if I want. But for this car, I think third and fourth gear are definitely the best drifting gears. So once I get into third gear, I can basically have the car sideways, and once it's sideways, I sort of feather the throttle a little bit to kind of keep it going in a straight line sideways. It's a little complex to understand, but it's sideways, and then I feather the throttle to kind of keep it from going back. And, you know, I just control the steering wheel a little bit, and I feather the throttle a little bit, and, you know, your drifts will get a little bit better. And as you can see at the top, you'll get great drift every once in a while, which is a sign you're doing pretty good. And then I can actually shift into 4th gear now, which gives me a lot more leeway kind of with the rev limiter. I'm not banging off rev limiter. I can do a little bit faster drifts. This is where I can clutch in, which gives me access, obviously, just in neutral to the whole rev limiter. I rev it all the way up, and then I drop it and turn the wheel at the same time and get the thing going sideways. Now I can do drifts that are maybe a little bit better. And obviously on little corners like this, we can drop it down in 3rd gear and do a slower drifts. Like this a little bit. And try to control it, try to keep the drift going for as long as possible. And eventually you will get the hang of it. See, the goal of drifting is to keep the car kind of going sideways and spinning its tires while you're controlling the car and keeping it going where it needs to go. And again, the whole time I'm feathering the throttle. The throttle's not always just hammered down. And again, you want to avoid spinning out like that. I found that the best roads to sort of learn on here are just these main little pathways. A lot of people like to do it kind of towards the festival, but I like to stay away from the festival and kind of just learn on these back roads. Here we do some 3rd gear ones over here, just kind of moving side from side. If you get too close to one side of the road, you can move over to the other side of the road. And on those corners, man, I just keep spinning out. See, even I'm learning, and I've been playing this game for a little bit now. Drifting definitely is one of those things that just takes a long time to kind of master. You can see I get to this side of the road, I go to the other side of the road, then switch sides, and just kind of basically do these big S's along the way. And that's kind of how you go down a straight road, if you will. And obviously on turns and stuff, you want to bank into the turns and drift with the turns. That's sort of the classic thing that people think of as they drift. If you're having a little bit of trouble getting the car sideways, sometimes you can clutch in and hold the e-brake to sort of give it a little sideways spin. Basically what holding the e-brake does is lock up your rear tires so they flail to one side, whatever side you're turning into pretty much. Your back end will sort of turn towards. And you can sort of get the drift going like that. But this is really not recommended for beginners. You're really supposed to learn how to do it by holding in the clutch and dropping the revs. But yeah, it definitely is very easy to sort of start drifting and learn how to drift with some of these other Hoonigan cars and the official drift formula cars. In 5th gear, I'm drifting at almost 80 miles an hour here, constantly just going from side to side along the road. And I'm getting lots of skill points and skill scores, which is, you know, of course, what drifting is good for. And drifting also looks cool and is really fun. We have a pretty solid drift going along here. We get great drift, we get drift, great drift, awesome drift there we just got. So that's how you know you're sort of drifting and doing pretty good, at least according to Forza Horizon 4. Of course, the whole time you're drifting, you don't want to be banging on rev limiter like this. You want to keep shifting gears until you're in like maybe 4th gear, and then we can start sort of controlling and feathering the throttle. Like I said before, just feather it, kind of find out where the drift works best. It really is something that you really have to sort of get used to and kind of feel around a little bit. It's a feeling oriented kind of thing. It's not something that you can just watch a tutorial and really master. So spend some time, guys, and good luck drifting. If you have any questions, you can, of course, leave a comment below. I'm at V Productions. I hope this tutorial helps some people, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.